Is Mr. Big finally ready to commit to Carrie? Or not so much? Let's get into it. It's the morning, and Carrie and Mr. Big are sharing their breakfast. And while Carrie is looking at Mr. Big, she realizes she loves this man. But she's not quite ready to say it yet. Quick question. Who do you feel should say it first? I myself am not the right answer for this because I think I'm a little bit immature when it comes to this. But I kind of like to play it safe and wait for the guy to say it first. Yeah, I need to work on some things also. Carrie is a little bit more progressive and modern. Is progressive the right word? When Mr. Big picks her up for a date, he has a surprise for her. A gift. A gift that reminded him of her. Now, who doesn't like to get a gift from your special someone, huh? Maybe it's your language of love. Carrie opens the gift, and this love language is broken.
It was just wrong. It was wrong.
A purse in the shape of a duck filled with diamonds? Times were different, I guess. On the other hand, yeah, we're not that much better today. You know what's the problem when you get a gift that you don't like? The problem is that you need to fake the politeness, and everyone and their mother knows that you are faking it, right? It's the, oh my God, I really like it. Then there's the Carrie's way.
I love you.
Please. It is much better to say that she loves him than to say that she likes this purse. Like, okay, let's chill. Fashion, relationships, Big gets a little bit put back and he says, you're welcome. The terror of saying to someone you love them and they don't say it back, or even worse, they say, thank you. Carrie feels some type of way, and Missy, I would feel also. It's not about, oh my God, why didn't he tell me? But it's about, oh my God, why didn't he tell me? But she has a solution. Okay, she's gonna give it a week. She is going by the dairy expiration date. If after a week he doesn't say it, things are gonna go sour. Also, if someone doesn't tell you, there is usually two reasons, right? One reason is that they don't really feel the same way and they don't want to lie to you. And the second thing is they might be afraid expressing because it hurt them in the past. Now, my little personal opinion is if you have problems expressing it because you've been hurt in the past, I think when the other person says it, it should give you a little bit more of a courage to say it back, right? Unless you are guarded with all the walls, and then honestly, what are you even doing dating other people? If you don't really have the space for love or anything, step back, do some other personal things, and then you can go back in, okay? Charlotte is a little bit more positive. What about if he is just trying to figure out how to say it in his own way? And that special way is coming, according to Carrie at least. Big takes Carrie to a special romantic nice dinner. After 2 days, Mr. Big finally found a way to say I love you to Carrie in his own way. The scene is perfect. They're sitting across each other. The music is playing. Everything has this romantic style about it. Mr. Big leans in and he says, if you don't like the purse that I bought you, you can take it back. And Carrie wants to smack him. The purse? The purse? Who the F gives an F about a purse right now? Okay. What about the I love you part? Where's that? Now, let's not get dramatic. We both know that Carrie doesn't say anything in that moment, okay? They are going for a party in the Big's social circles. It's the Upper East Side, and Carrie's feeling some type of way. She also takes her new purse with her because, it's a gift. I need to be nice about it, which I totally get. But also, why do we make it a big deal? If you don't like the gift, you can say, oh, cutie. That's wrong. Okay? Make it funny. But I can show you what I like. If you effed up, you just effed up. Like, especially when it comes to things like clothes and accessories. You're not the worst person in the world, okay? You just maybe don't have really good taste or the same taste, okay? In Big's case, good taste. Now, this party shows us Carrie in a little bit of an interesting way. I myself was kind of surprised, to be honest. She does not like this vibe. She has the attitude of, I am better than all of these rich, pretentious people. Okay? Now, Mary, let's not pretend that we didn't have our own moments of the poor against the rich, the artist against the corporate and suits. She's entering this party, she's looking around, and she is already rolling her eyes like, and while she's rolling her eyes, she rolls and she sees that all of these Upper East Side ladies have the same freaking type of purse. Does Big think that this is who she is? Does he not realize how better she is? She's not like one of these boring, no personality ass bisses, okay? She's Carrie. She is eccentric. She is artsy. She is a sex columnist. She is out of the box. All of these ladies are boxed with no brown food in it. Okay? That was the rule at the party. Aesthetics.
It's like she's consciously trying to cultivate an eccentricity so people won't notice that she's completely devoid of personality.
Well, don't be a bitch.
I'm not being a bitch, I'm just being myself.
It is another pick-me moment by Carrie. I'm better than these other girls or women. And it also makes me a little bit giggle. I'm like, aw, cutie. In the downtown, she is the special person, right? Carrie is the special person who has this upper side guy, right? This successful guy, business guy, charming, and she's basically the special one in her circles for being with a guy like that. But when they are in his circles, now she is not special, right? Because she is now almost threatened by the fact that she's different than these people. And if I'm different than these people, am I really the type of person that Big would actually be with? Is he even serious with me? Does he not love me because I'm not actually like all of these other ladies are? And will he expect her to be that, right? Or will he accept her for who she actually is? But who she actually is it good enough for him? Instead of facing that fear, like why are you actually feeling not good enough, she creates immediate distance and defense, right? I don't even want to be a part of this crowd. I don't even like these people. So we see Carrie being extremely immature, extremely insecure, but then putting her own facade on it. And she's kind of acting like, to be honest, a little bit like Big. Yeah. At the end of the day, these are his friends. This is his social circles. Why are you pooping on them? Think about how we felt when Big didn't really want to get to know her friends. At one point, she decides to go to the balcony to have a smoke, and she meets one of her friends from the past. He is an artist in the downtown, but he is a chef in the uptown. They're making him make brownless food. And it almost feels like now she found, her crowd, and let's bash the other people. What's interesting is that this friend asks Carrie, who is she with? And for the first time, Mr. Big is...
Oh, some guy.
He's not anymore the special Mr. Big, someone who she feels proud to be with. Now he is just this guy that doesn't even matter. He basically mentions that he made a new tattoo or something, and it's kind of risky the spot the tattoo is at. And she's like, show me. She needs to double down on this. Double down on how cool they are, right? Almost proving to herself that she's totally not like these other people.
Pretty far.
Holy moly.
Imagine how this conversation would go down, the anger we would feel if Big was doing that with another woman. Okay, Mr. Big looking at someone else's crotch while he is at the party with Carrie where he was supposed to meet her friends. Mary, we would not spare any words, okay? Carrie went way out the line. I would be like, this... No. The rumor of Carrie being a little bit spicy on the balcony with the chef spreads, and Big comes to Carrie and asks her about it. Honestly, the way he asked her, is it true that you are doing da-da-da? He was taking it very calm. Maybe I'm not an adult enough. But if I heard a rumor like that, I would be like, the fuck did I just heard? He asked her though if she can stop because she's embarrassing him.
I'm embarrassing you?
Look, lady, putting yourself in a compromised position on a balcony, on a party of my friends, I am gonna say that the word embarrassing does not feel the best. It's, but on the other hand, I mean, it is what it is. And he's actually being quite calm about it. If you look at the fact that what she's doing and how she is behaving at this party in general. So I don't know how much should I really be annoyed by the fact that he said that she's embarrassing. Like, yes, girl, you are. Carrie, on the other hand, is shocked by that statement. And she also says that this wouldn't be a problem if he was actually a gentleman and he would go with her to the balcony. If he would act the right way, this would not happen.
Then that's where I'll be. And just like that, I was cast out of the fancy party.
She didn't just go simply on a balcony to have a cigarette. She didn't ask him, hey, can you join me? No. What she did was storm away, went to the balcony, and basically acting very rude the whole time. So I don't really know how Big was just supposed to come after her. Some things he's doing wrong, but some things you're doing wrong.
Let's just go.
No, you go. I'm having a good time.
It is so immature. It's so driven by the insecurity and anger. I've said it a couple of times, but let's refresh. He didn't say that he loves her. He bought her a purse that she doesn't like, so does he even know who I am? He's a part of community where she doesn't feel good enough and she feels like she needs to create this distance and put herself above them. All of this plays into her insecurities of, is he really into her and how real all of this is? We see Carrie walking from the party and who is by her side? It's the friend. They are drunk. They are reminiscing the good times and people, they kiss. Yes, Carrie just cheated on Mr. Big. Oh, but she was hurt. Would we have the same attitude if Big did that? Or if we would have the same attitude, that's the problem. Okay, that should not be the attitude. She literally cheated on her man because she doesn't feel secure enough and because she already created this fantasy in her head or this story in her head how he is not really accepting her, that she immediately had to get the validation from another guy, put herself in certain positions, and actually kiss him. Not only that, she took him to her apartment. A woman that is craving the commitment from her man takes another guy to her apartment. Not even. I was furious. I was shocked, and I was entertained. Okay, good show. With this act, I think Carrie is also playing into or downplaying her independence because she is doing whatever the F she wants. And this, in my personal opinion, is this toxic way of thinking being independent where it's all just illusion, it's all just false, it's all fake to make yourself feel good for that moment. But actual independence, actual confidence in yourself is when you don't need to do those things to prove yourself, to prove that you're independent. When you can actually be mature about things, that's when you are actually independent and confident. Otherwise, you're just dependent on getting that sweet, sweet validation. It's the next morning and there is a ring. Mr. Big is calling Carrie. He says that he understands why Carrie is upset. The fact that he didn't say, I love you back. But it's something that he needs to do in his own time.
Well, I fucking love you. All right? You know I do. It's just a tough thing for me to say because it always seems to get me in trouble.
Excuse me, what? Excuse me, what? Weren't you the one who cheated on your wife? The level of non-accountability and non-responsibility is beyond me. But hey, maybe he meant that, it gets me into trouble because at the end of the day, I don't really love that person, or I love them, but I don't really want to commit to them. So it's better if I just don't say it, Because if we leave it vague, then it's easier for me to do shit things, right? Am I being too harsh? I personally think that the worst thing is when someone does express their challenges for you to just be like, oh, okay, understand. And that totally erases all the problems, right? Because now you have a reason and now you have understanding. I think it's much better to approach it with reality, with some level of matureness in saying, okay, I get it, I understand it. You should have told me, or thank you for telling me. That doesn't mean that I'm just now gonna accept it and that's it. But we can try and see how to work on it. How are you planning to show up to overcome this challenge? What do you need for me to overcome this challenge? But don't just let it be this thing that I understand and, until you figure it out, that's it. To me, it's a little bit like, okay, let's calm down. We are not saving the world here. We are talking about, can we build something together or not? If you're not ready to do that, I don't understand why would I need to just accept that, he has this problem or she has this problem, but I know they love me. At the end, he asks her if they are okay.
Are we okay?
We're great.
She decided she will never tell Big what happened, that she has another guy in her bed. Because for Carrie, anything before I love you just does not count. And we are back in the La La Land. Yay! This is the pattern, right? She always creates a story, a narrative, some kind of reason that allows her to then just start fresh, to just pretend like nothing matters, whatever was in the past, and we are just, two people coming together right now. It's almost like she's closing one story, maybe Cinderella didn't turn out the way I wanted to turn out. So now she's opening a Snow White, okay? Let's do this all again. Mr. Big and Carrie finally said to each other that they love each other. And now it's time for the second phase of this relationship. Even though this relationship has been lasting for some time, because they dated for a year before this new relationship. But oh well. It is the phase of leaving your stuff at each other's place. If that's not a level up when you're with someone, I don't know what is. Now, people who have some maturity in themselves would probably feel very normal asking the other person, hey, I'm spending most of my time here and I keep on running, from my apartment to your apartment and needing to do the walk without any fresh underwear. Can I leave some stuff here? It's more convenient. We're spending most of the time here. But no, not Carrie. Carrie likes to keep things interesting. So she just tries to leave something there. A hairdryer, for starters. Let's see how he will react. Will he even notice it? It's a success. It feels like testing, okay? Testing if she can enter his life a little bit more. Carrie does not feel equal in this relationship. So she needs to tiptoe and try different things to understand how much can I actually be a part of his life? When will he say no? When will he put the limit? Can I try a little bit more? Can I also leave my underwear here? But this is not the only victory Carrie is having. That's just starters. For the main course, she even did a number 2 at his place. This sounds weird right now. People, between the two of us, I totally get it. Okay, I totally get it. It's never pleasant to do a number 2 at anyone's house, especially, as Carrie puts it, when the apartments in New York are very close and you literally can, hear the other person right next to you, doing their thing. Now, I have some of the tricks, put your tap water on, put some paper in so there's no plunks there. and I'm going too much into detail. But honestly, I get it. It's not the most pleasant thing. So the fact that she did it, it is a victory, okay? The fact that she took almost 2 relationship to do it, that's whack. It's so amusing, but also like, what the fuck? Do you think we're stupid? When Carrie has these moments of victory, and this is so cute about this relationship with Mr. Big, as though it's a new relationship, as though we don't know like the whole story, like they were together for a year before this. Carrie is at home and there's a knock on her door. It's Mr. Big, and he is carrying a bag. Now, this time, it is not a gift. It's not something that Carrie would actually want. It's things that Carrie needs. It's things that Carrie left at Big's apartment.
Hey, what's this?
Oh, just a few things you left at my place.
Oh, thanks.
And everything comes crashing down. The victory that Carrie felt of how she finally entered a little bit more in Mr. Big's life, where there was some space that she took, right? Because Big is weird with stuff thing. No, Big is not weird with stuff. Big is very committed to not being committed. But Carrie surprises us here. Oh, she's making waves. She's doing things differently. She actually tells Mr. Big that she left those things on purpose because it's convenient for her. She also offers if he needs to leave things at her place that he's welcome to. There's this attitude and dynamic between them, and I don't know if Carrie herself is creating that, but she's for sure feeding into it, where she always needs to justify her wants and her needs. Not only justify, it's almost like if I need something or want something, don't worry, you can also want and need something. It's never just, in this case, I need the stuff there, like it's convenient for me, period. It has to be, I need to have this stuff there, it's convenient, but you can also leave stuff here, you know? And in general, it's not a bad thing. But when we know what kind of dynamic there is between Carrie and Big, where we know that she keeps on trying to be a part of his life and he keeps on trying to create a distance between him and the two of them together, like he's controlling how close she can get. It's just another way to feed into, let me prove myself to you, or let me prove that it's okay for you to let me in a little bit more. At one point, she even says that, look, it's not about what I want, it's about what you want.
You want me to leave socks here?
Well, never mind what I want. What do you want?
Chill, lady, calm down. It is okay that you want something. It is normal that you need something. You don't need to make sure that you're not inconvenienced to this person. If he truly wants to commit and if he truly is ready to be in a real relationship, you shouldn't be an inconvenience. Like, you're actually his partner. You are someone who, hopefully, you are working on building a life together. You're not an inconvenience, and you shouldn't be treating yourself like that. From her side, it's very obvious that what she's communicating to him is, look, I totally accept you in my life. You can do whatever you want. I am totally opening my space and myself to you. So please do the same for me. Which I would say the first part, totally fine. The second part, it's not please do the same for me. It's about I expect you to do the same for me. And if we're not aligning on that, let's figure out how to align. What would be the compromise for the both of us? Or understand that maybe there's no alignment needed because we have no room or space or need to actually want to accept the other person. But Carrie surprises us again. She actually asks Big,
I don't know, let's save an hour. Why don't you just tell me what I want?
No, really, in your mind, what is the ideal living situation for two people in a relationship?
And Mr. Big says that it's exactly what they have right now. It's the two of them being together when they want to be together, but also she has her own place and he has his own place.
Exactly what we have.
And what is that?
I have my place. You have yours. We're together when we want to be, and we're apart when we want to be.
For him, that's the perfect relationship. For the two of us, that's not a relationship, okay? He wants the benefits of being in a relationship, but he's not willing to give a commitment needed to have those benefits in a relationship. A thing that's kind of expected, but also just gives another indication of where Big is that he doesn't ask her back. He doesn't ask her, what do you want from a relationship? And I think he doesn't ask her because he knows that that will give her the opportunity to actually express, and then he will have to acknowledge. So it's easier to not ask and then let just Carrie not even say it, because he is also used to that Carrie doesn't really say things and things will just kind of, vanish in some way. And despite Carrie doing step by step a little bit better, she disappoints us again, okay? She is like, rolls her eyes and lies next to him. It's giving men. They have such a problem and fear of committing. Yes, because we allow them to, okay? We allow men, or when women are acting that way, we allow the other person to behave in that way. We allow them to have these fears. When you are afraid of crossing a bridge, you keep on being afraid because every time you have the other path. Right? You can just go around and maybe do a little bit of a bigger circle, but you can kind of get to the other part, right? But you have to face crossing that bridge where there's no way, any other way to actually get to that point. Then you're facing that fear and then you're actually working on overcoming it. But how many times do we allow the fear of commitment, the fear of vulnerability to just stay at being a fear that we need to accept, or the belief that men are just like that? Well, if we keep on allowing that, then how can they themselves emotionally mature? What is the opportunity that you are giving to the other person to actually do better for themselves and also for any kind of relationship for you or with someone else? So Carrie in this case shouldn't be just like, oh man. Carrie should stand her limit, should stand her ground and say, well, for me, I'm expecting something different. And I really want us to be on the same page to continue this. And not being afraid of losing the other person. Just don't. I think that's the biggest thing that keeps us in a situations that we shouldn't be in. And you might say, oh, it's easy to say that. Look, Bess, I've experienced it. I've lied to myself for so long, not even knowing that I'm doing it because I'm afraid of being alone. And looking back, all I can say is, you dumb. Honestly, today, I honestly hope that if it came to that point, I have knowledge enough, experience enough, understanding enough to say, look, if it ain't working, it ain't working. The sooner I accept that, the sooner I can actually meet someone and develop something with someone who I can work it with, because we are both equally committed to it. Accepting things in a relationship that you don't want to have in a relationship is kind of whack, okay? It's stupid. Do not do it. It's not worth it. It really is not worth it. And as expected, Carrie is now doubting the whole relationship thing. Are her views of relationship too traditional? Is the type of relationship that she wants actually extinct? Is it the new way to be together but not really be together?
Was I the one who needed to adapt?
I mentioned it before, but just a little refresher, or if you haven't come across that. When you clock yourself, changing your beliefs or lowering your expectations in a relationship to accommodate or to not lose the other person, you need to take a step back. Is this something that I'm doing just because I want to make sure that this other person is not leaving? Maybe the first time you do convince yourself that, like Carrie, for example, oh, it's not such a problem if I want something else in a relationship. He's still committed to me. Maybe he's not giving me everything, but do I really need it? Maybe, you will still do that. But I would try not to just convince myself that that's also what I believe. I would at least try to understand that I actually want something different. But right now, I also understand his, and I am willing to go with this for whatever reason, okay? Just don't try to convince yourself to totally change your values and your beliefs, because it only works until your illusion is not challenged. It's easy to say, oh, it's okay for me, but will it be okay when the person maybe just says one day, look, I'm going away for a year? Now, how okay are you with the fact that they were totally okay with the not commitment part of the relationship? But that's not what happened to Carrie. Yes, it did. But we're not there yet. We see Carrie waking up in the morning, and this is, give me a break. This is such a passive-aggressive behavior. So she's waking up and Big wants to for her to stay in the bed. So she's like, well, I need to go home because I need to dry my hair. I'm wearing straight now.
That's where my hair dryer is. I have to dry my hair. I'm wearing it straight in case you didn't notice.
It's so passive-aggressive of, well, you don't want me to leave my stuff here, so now I need to go home and do this. It's not my problem that I need to do it, okay? She even kind of pokes and says that she needs to make sure that she doesn't leave anything behind, right? So she goes into bathroom or something. Now, this scene was also a little bit ridiculous because she's passing the hallway and there's a drawer and she just opens it because I guess that's where her stuff are. Like, that was bad writing, honestly, but okay. And in there is the answer of all of Carrie's doubts. Mr. Big has a picture of the two of them in the drawer. And that's enough to see that Mr. Big does have space for Carrie in his life. Oh my God, give me a break. Give me a freaking, when you are desperate, to find a reason to neglect your own expectations and beliefs, anything will do. You will find the smallest thing and say, this is it. This is the proof. Carrie was being a bit silly. She doesn't have to leave anything behind because she is already there. That makes her feel secure in this relationship. So she decides to go back to bed and stay a little longer. This what? It's giving like self-help, when they need to move a chair and suddenly they are reminded that how even small things can get in a way, and you just need to have the power to move it away and then you can follow your path. That's how I feel about this whole situation. Leaving stuff there, this is about entering his life, which makes sense. But when she now sees that there is some kind of a picture there, then that's totally enough. And her needs of the need to leave stuff there so she can even brush her freaking hair in the morning doesn't matter anymore. At the end of the day, I am in his life, okay? And the fact that you acknowledge that I'm in your life is enough for me. Breadcrumbs, okay? Breadcrumbs. And Carrie basically ends with saying that it's a small step for humanity, but it is a big step for Big. Bis, he's over 40 and he was already married. What are we talking about here? Poor girl. Carrie is at an S&M party that is organized by Samantha. But she needs to go early because Mr. Big is actually leaving in the morning for Paris for a business trip. She wants to say goodbye and have a little bit of a wild night before he leaves. In the morning, Mr. Big is packing and he seems a little bit in a hurry while Carrie is sitting on the bed. She expresses to him that she will miss him. Now, Mr. Big is a little bit sassy and he says, well, in a week, I'll be back and you can sit there and watch me unpack. I don't know what's the deal with this guy, but it does seem that, or he's annoyed that she's there while he's packing because he's in a hurry to go, or he's actually annoyed that she's not helping, seeing him running around and trying to pack. The scene is clear. She is sad that he's going and she doesn't really know how to deal with it. She wants him to pay attention to her, to maybe express that he's also gonna miss her, while he is in the zone of panicking and needing to go to the airport. It's just a situation where two people are in two different emotional states and they don't really, it just is what it is. I think it's quite normal for that to happen. Carrie proceeds to ask him about plans for next week. Apparently they had some, plans to go together to Hamptons, I think, or something, whatever. But Big can't really commit to that. He can't commit to that because there is a possibility that he won't be in New York City for the summer. Just like that, people. Just like that. Oh, by the way, I might not be here this summer. Am I an escort that's just here and then you just let me know, next week you're free, I won't be needing your services? What the fuck? Carrie is a little bit surprised and shocked by that. And she's obviously trying to understand, what does this actually mean? And when was he going to tell her? As Mr. Big is explaining, as this exchange is going, we kind of find out that the time that Mr. Big is going to be gone is a little bit, the more you talk, the more the time is longer, right? It goes for, I'm not going to be here for the summer, to I'm going to be away for a while for work, to maybe it's going to be between 7 months to a year. It's not definite. Excuse me? Are you freaking kidding me? What kind of... Is this real? Do people really, really do that? I need you to look at the big picture. I need you to listen to this person, okay? They're not sharing with you their plans potentially for the next year. Are you hearing this? Someone who you are in a relationship with. They might move to another freaking continent. But wait. Maybe we are getting ahead of ourselves, okay? That's the thing. Mr. Big is also trying to keep it calm and not get ahead of himself or the whole situation. Nothing is really definite yet. He's just going now to this business trip, and after the trip, he's gonna understand things better, which I can understand, okay? I can understand when you don't really have all the information, you do not want to go into discussing things because maybe all that time of brainstorming, discussing, and everything will be just a waste, okay? Let me first understand what is even happening. I can totally get that. For the love of God, I will never get, how do you not talk about it to your partner? Look, I don't know if I'm a little bit delusional, but I consider my partner my best friend. Okay? That's how I want it, and that's how I have it. If there is a sniff of something, of a potential change in anything, I want to talk to my best friend about it. By default, I would be like, oh my God, guess what? You don't have the details yet. You don't want to discuss it too much. But how don't you even tell me about it? Or I wouldn't even tell you about it. I mean, give me a freaking break. It's because you do not see me as an actual partner in this relationship. The fact that you don't even want to open a conversation or mention it, it means that you have a specific role that you assign to me as your partner. And that role most definitely isn't someone with who you actually discuss whatever is happening in your life.
When I knew more, nothing's definite. I mean, don't get carried away.
Also, the way he says it to Carrie is, boy, please, carried away. Don't get carried away. I'm gonna carry your freaking ass away from me, okay? Okay. Furthermore, he doesn't have the time to talk about this right now because he needs to catch a plane. They're gonna talk about it when he comes back. In my personal opinion, I think he's doing that to detach himself of recognizing that this relationship is important or that he actually needs to commit. Because if he actually needs to discuss this in a serious way with Carrie, which is like a big thing for their relationship, it almost feels like automatically it means that this relationship is serious. Like I actually need to discuss something that might happen in my life because of my work with this person. And because Big does not really have that space for Carrie in a relationship, I mean, not long ago, he just told her that he feels that it's perfect the way they have it. They are together when they're together, but they also have their own, spaces and their own things. It's clear that it's not convenient, or he's not ready to actually treat this as a real relationship. So he's distancing also this important decision from the relationship. Because if I don't make it that important, then also this is not that important, right? And that's how I like to have it. We see Carrie for the first time upset. She has had it in front of her friends.
I wanted to kill him. And he's standing there giving me the what's the big problem eyes.
She is angry, and honestly, she has the right to be. As she correctly recognizes,
No, it's not about that. It's about the fact that I wasn't even a factor in his decision-making process.
For him, it's, I'm going to see if I need to move. Then I'm going to tell you about these details, right? Then we're going to talk about it. But the fact that in that process of seeing if he needs to move, he doesn't even talk to Carrie about what could that mean for them, or how does she feel about that. I mean, it's stupid for me to even need to explain it, but it's obvious that for him, a relationship is not a priority. It is not.
1 minute he's all over me, and the next minute he's pushing me away, and I just cannot believe this is happening again.
You cannot escape when a person is not committed, or when they are not willing to put in the relationship what you are expecting and what do you want. Doesn't matter how good things are, right? Because for Carrie, things were good. Everything was good. So how come now this? Like, how was I so blinded? Well, things are good because it's easy to have good things. It's easy to ignore things until you cannot ignore them, okay? It's easy to say, oh, it's just men, and then have dates, go together, have fun, all of these things. But then when a question of commitment comes up, right? Like in this case, he potentially moving for a year, not even talking to her, you cannot escape. You cannot just say, oh man, because it's not just, oh man, now you are literally affected by that. That's the thing when we create an illusion or lie to ourselves or accept things that we don't really want to accept and see it as not a big deal. Yes, it's not a big deal until it becomes a big deal, because it never really goes away. We can't just lie to ourselves. Like, it will come back around in one way or the other. Or worst case scenario, you'll just learn to keep on lying to yourself and keep on dimming yourself to stay in the relationship until they don't want it anymore. Carrie cannot figure it out. What the F is Mr. Big doing? 1 minute he's all over her. The next minute he's pushing her away. It's happening all over again. Again. When you say again, it implies that there were solutions in place that things should be different. It implies that you are surprised by this behavior. But if you think about it, nothing really changed. What did change? What did change for you to think that Big is now more commitment? Why? Because you fought less? Because you had less opportunities to even talk about commitment? Because you yourself decided to neglect it or see it as a small thing every time you see how he is not really treating you as a part of his life? How can you say again? It's been the same. He's into her when it's convenient for him to be into her, when they play by his rules or by his expectations. But the second there is some indication of real commitment, he's not really there. He doesn't want to be there. He said it in the previous episode, what he expects from a relationship. And honestly, I think it's the first time when he actually says it. When he says, the version of relationship that we have now, we are together when we are together, but not together, we still have our own things. It's a first little indication of what this Big actually want. But if you decide to ignore it, then you're ignoring it. He's all over her, yes, because there is no challenge that actually puts him where he needs to show how really committed he is. But when it comes to decision like literally moving, which obviously will have an impact on the relationship, that's when he becomes cold. That's when he doesn't really, he's not now all over you trying to understand things, because he wasn't all over it in the first place. Things were just good because they were in the borders of what he wants and what he's willing to give. Carrie asks, why am I doing this to myself? And when it comes to relationships,
how do you know when enough is enough?
Mary, I mean, how many times have you asked yourself that? When is enough enough? I don't think the question is when enough is enough. The problem of not seeing when enough is enough is because we are not actually searching for that. I think the problem lies that we are actually after, how can this not be enough? How can this be small enough so we can still continue the relationship? I think that's where our focus actually lies, when we are not willing to see when enough is enough, when we are even asking ourselves that question. Deep down, I think we are actually looking for a reason how this is not enough yet. Carrie is at home and Stanford actually just left. They had a couple of drinks, they had a bit of friends time, and right now she wants to call Mr. Big. She's gonna stand up for herself. It's not about you standing up for yourself as much as you're trying to convince yourself you're doing it. Because think about it, when you really want to talk about serious things, you want to have a clear mind, you want to have confidence about it. You don't just want to be drunk. But when you're doing it drunk, when you're doing it with anger, you're actually after that sweet, sweet justification to let it go. That's how I see things.
I would like to know how you could even think of going to Paris and not even think about discussing it with me. Huh? I think about you all the time. What's he doing? What's he thinking? But you know. When were you planning to tell me?
Talking about maybe taking a different approach, I personally would, try to talk in this case with Mr. Big and say, look, this doesn't really sit well with me that you've taken this decision, or that you're going into even taking this decision without mentioning it to me, without talking to me about it. It makes me feel like you're not really seeing me as a part of this partnership and relationship. Like, I want to have a different kind of commitment between the two of us. I don't want to be someone who is an afterthought. Also, as much as you don't want to see it, this does impact me. It's not fair that you're not even acknowledging that this will have an effect on me, and yet you don't even bring me in. You don't even tell me about it. So I want to really understand why. Why do you feel that way? This way, I know that I'm actually expressing what's the problem, and I'm also letting the other person tell me what their stance is. Like, why are you feeling this way? Why do you feel that this is not something that I should be, worried about or whatever? And then listen, okay? Listen. If they don't really go into it, if they don't really want to talk about it, that is also the answer. It doesn't mean when the answer is not direct that means that there is no answer at all. Okay? Not having clarity is also an answer. Mr. Big is annoyed because it's 5:30 in the morning. He's annoyed that Carrie is just calling him like that. And he tells her that they can talk about this later. Now he's sleeping. And to me personally, it is annoying when it's inconvenient to you. Of course, it's annoying that a person wants to talk about a serious thing, because for you, it's not that serious. Mr. Big sees it as annoying, an inconvenience that Carrie is now wanting to resolve this in such a manner, because at the end of the day, he doesn't care. He really doesn't. Just imagine, if you really care about someone, if you really care about the relationship and your person is clearly upset about something, Can you really find it annoying? You find the person annoying. You find the conversations annoying when you don't really care. And the thing is that it might not be that serious. It might not be that serious for Big about this work thing, right? Let's take it like that. That's okay. But Carrie should ask herself, is it serious to you? Do you want to be in a relationship with someone who doesn't take it serious, who doesn't see it as important for you to be a part of his, like she said, decision-making process? But see, Carrie has a different view of this. For her, this is just Mr. Big being afraid to commit to her.
This is not fake us. This is real. Even if you don't know it, it is.
Are you freaking kidding me? It's not just, okay? It's not a small thing. That's the core. That's the basis. Are you freaking kidding me? If someone is afraid to commit to me, why would I want for them to commit to me? You do you, boo. You don't have the emotional capacity to do this right now. That's okay. You don't have to. You need to take care of yourself. But why would I take it that that's just a small inconvenient thing, you know? It's just something that I need to show you that you shouldn't be afraid because I'm perfect. How the fuck do you know that you're perfect for me? If I'm afraid to commit to you, how come you think that you are so, I don't know what, that you are confident in telling me, don't be afraid, you should commit to me? Okay. Narcissistic much? Carrie takes it another level though, because she now starts to insult Big. She even says that he is old and he needs to accept someone in his life or love someone or something like that. And it's almost like she is going every possible way to make him realize that, hey man, this is your best chance. How can't you see that this is perfect? This is perfect. It's manipulative because she is trying to, in some way, convince this man that she's the best thing for him, right? And we know that that's never the truth. You cannot ever say that you are the right person for the other person. Only the other person can decide that. She is convinced that she's perfect for Mr. Big. The problem is that he doesn't see it. And she needs to make sure that he sees it. It's not true. You are not perfect for the other person if you need to keep convincing them that you are. If you keep trying to get them commit to you, then you're not the right person. Period. The real thing is not that hard. When you're actually good for each other, things are much easier. The whole conversation ends with Carrie knowing she went too far this time and actually being a little bit uneasy about it. So uneasy, in fact, that she suddenly changes her mind.
I am way overreacting to this whole France situation. I think Charlotte's right. There are ways to work this out. Mm-hmm.
She changed her mind on how big of a thing this thing actually is. Not only that, she also changes her mind on what the problem actually is. Remember, at the beginning, she correctly understood that the problem is that he is not including her in his decisions, right? The decisions that also impact her and especially their relationship. That was the actual problem. Suddenly, the problem is only that she got upset that he might be moving for work. And when that's the problem, then she's exaggerating. Then she's not really being reasonable. I mean, at the end of the day, people do long distance. She can also visit him in Paris. Yes, he needs to travel, and that's okay. Honestly, when I was watching that, I was like, this is insane. But it's also, it's so by the book. Like I said, when you actually call someone drunk, when you want to resolve things in anger, it's so easy to now say, oh, I exaggerated, I did things wrong, and then totally even dismiss what is the actual problem, because now the problem is your behavior, not what brought you there, right? When her friends actually challenged her that how come she changed her mind now and she's now okay if he needs to go, she says that basically she took it too far last night, right? She lost her shit and she actually realized that she's very close in this thing actually ending.
What made you change your mind?
Well, I completely lost my shit to Big on the phone, and I realized how close this whole thing is to really blowing up. And you know what? Yes, it's painful sometimes, but it's worth it, you know?
You see, that's it. That's why we never come to the enough is enough. Because what we are more afraid of is actually losing that person. So even though we are in anger, being, oh, this is enough, I reached my limit, did you really? Or are you just trying to find a way where you can still continue? And Carrie did exactly that. The way she approached the situation, she gave space for her to be the bad guy and the one that exaggerates. So it gave her the perfect excuse how she can then dismiss her actual problem, the actual challenge that they have in the relationship, and she can still stay with him. Okay? She basically sabotaged herself without even realizing. So now the mission is simple. Make it better. Carrie gets all dressed in French type fashion, let's say. She puts a beret on. She gets some French fries to make it a little bit more fun and amusing. All of this to apologize for acting like a bitch.
What is all this?
It's an apology for being the bitch.
You see, she was thinking about things and she understands that she exaggerated a little bit. At the end of the day, she can visit him in Paris, and if needed, she can also move there for some time and she can, write her column in France. And for Mr. Big, that would be great. But
I don't want you to uproot your life and expect anything.
People, this is actually really tricky. I myself have moved countries for a relationship. And at the beginning, it kind of freaked me out. It freaked me out doing this commitment, like totally moving countries because of a relationship. And it was almost like a defense mechanism, let's say, to say, oh, but I'm not moving just for the guy, right? I'm also moving for myself. And honestly, I still don't know where am I standing with that when you're taking those kind of big decisions. But if I'm looking at the big picture, at the end of the day, yes, I did move for a relationship, but I also saw it as it's worth it. That was my way of committing to the relationship because otherwise it would be much more challenging and I had the leverage to do it. It is a problem though if you do it and then you just put all four of and you're like, I did this and now you need to do everything else because I already made such a sacrifice. I do not agree with that. I decided to do it for the relationship. No one forced me. But Mr. Big wants to make sure that if Carrie does that, she's doing it for herself. Because he does not want for Carrie to move to Paris and then have expectations. And that is why Mr. Big is not someone I would do anything when it comes to relationships. Hello. I think it's so wrong to say to someone, oh, if you're moving, don't have any expectations. I mean, the fuck. First of all, what kind of expectations are we talking here about? If I'm moving because I believe in this relationship and I believe that we are committed to this relationship, then if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. My expectation is that you are also looking at this like that. There is an expectation that we are both putting in the commitment and work to make this work. So how can you then tell me, don't move countries and have expectations? Are you freaking kidding me? The expectation is that we are committed to one another. The same way I'm committed to you, you're committed to me. Is that an unreasonable expectation? What would be more normal to say in this kind of situation if you are afraid a person moving countries for you, because it is a big thing, would be to actually express it, to say, I would love for you to do that, but I'm just afraid. Like, it's not easy to accept someone doing such a big thing for someone else. And I want for us to feel really comfortable in this decision because I don't want you to regret it. But saying it the way Big said it, like that's bullshit, okay? That is not okay. And Carrie lets it show.
I am such an idiot!
What the fuck?
And again, I think this is how you react when your mission is, let's just pretend that everything is good. We are both committed for this to work, and that's it. So when he actually again reminds her that he's not really about that, it shatters her illusion, and that pisses her off. It's the fact that she's doing everything for them to be together while he's doing everything to make sure that she doesn't have that expectation. Mr. Big shares with Carrie that at the end of the day, he needs to be in a relationship where if he needs to go to Paris for work, he can go to Paris for work. That's it.
I have to be in a relationship where if I have to go to Paris, I have to go to Paris.
You know, people have different expectations from the relationship. That's all okay. But you need to decide, what do you want? Does this match with my expectation? And don't be like Carrie, assigning reasons beyond, fear of commitment, this and that, why you actually don't want to commit. I know better why you don't want to commit.
This is about us getting closer and you getting so freaked out that you have to put an ocean between us.
No, he's telling you, listen. And Mr. Big says, I don't want to talk about it anymore. What did I say? What did I say? Listen. He does not even have the will, the energy, any need to actually have a conversation with you about a serious topic. That's all you need to do. That is answer enough.
Why is it so hard for you to factor me into your life in any real way?
I guess old habits die hard.
Well, maybe I can't do this anymore.
I understand.
You said you loved me.
I do.
Then why does it hurt so fucking much?
I think this is what Big wanted to do all along, to be honest. I genuinely think that Mr. Big wanted to end it with Carrie. But he's just not the type of guy that would actually just end it, because at the end of the day, it's also good. He has fun with her. So then he just creates a situation where Carrie needs to end it, right? Where she needs to be the one who walks away. Because also, if she's the one who walks away, then there is a possibility she will want to return. And maybe she will return when he will be ready again, or when it will be convenient for him. Carrie goes home and we see her acknowledging that this is what she does to herself. Quote, I tied myself to a man who is terrified of being tied down. There is a teeny tiny problem there though. Tied myself to a man who is terrified of being tied down. Not doesn't want to be, who's afraid to be tied down. The problem is not that he's terrified of commitment. The problem is that you're terrified of being alone. Acknowledging that would actually help her. It's around 2 a.m. in the morning. There's a knock on the door. It's Big. They don't say a word because they've already said everything. They just make love. I'm gonna smack both of them. I mean, at the end of the day, why not? Why not? Like, Big knows that as long as, he just shows up, as long as he picks her up, they make passionate love, everything will be okay. And honestly, he does have that kind of attitude, even in the morning when they wake up. Carrie, on the other side, understand that this is the last time.
Go to Paris. I'm not gonna come. Let's not pretend we're something we're not.
Come to bed.
I wanted to go to him, but I felt like I was tied to the chair, knowing I had gone too far, reached my limit.
She does acknowledge if she ever really loved Big, or is she just addicted to pain? It's been 5 months since the relationship ended, and Mr. Big is back from Paris in New York City, engaged to another woman. Peace! Oh. But let's talk about it next time. And remember, trust your individuality.